Hello guys, happy Friday here in the Philippines. Another beautiful day. It's actually really warm today. So when I get done with you guys, I'm gonna go and hop in that pool. It's looking awful inviting. Today I want to do a video based on the realities of living in the Philippines as opposed versus the US, the differences. Now I know I've covered some of these things throughout my videos, but I want to do a complete video on a lot of the different things that I've experienced, and so that you don't get false expectations or hopes when you do come here, because you could be disappointed in certain things. So that's why we're going to do this video today. That way you have a better understanding of how it may be when you do get here. The first thing we want to talk about, let's see, is the cost of living. Cost of living in the Philippines is very cheap compared to America. You can live really comfortably on $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and that you could purchase a condo and just live a nice life, and go out to eat, things like that. As opposed to the U.S., where you're talking the average middle class person in America is probably spending to between $5,000 and $8,000, depending on where you live. If you're in the city area, you're going to pay between $5,000 and $8,000. If you're in the country, you're not going to pay as much. You'll probably pay around $3,000 to $4,000 a month. But your quality of life is a lot different. You can't go out to eat 4 or 5 times a week in America. It gets very expensive, but you can do that here. Me, for instance, our total, we spend about $900 to $1,000 a month, but we don't have bills, so that's why, it's why it's so cheap for us. If I didn't have an electric bill, I'd really be saving money, but we do, and maybe someday that'll change if I decide to go solar. Just haven't really shopped around yet. So, all right, let's see, what's next on my list? Yeah, the wages here, you're not going to make any money here. If you come over here to make money, you're going to be disappointed. The average wage is probably, it ranges between $400 and $800 a month, okay? And, that's tough. But if you have a job where you can go in work online from America to here or any other country, you're going to be well off. Because let's see, I wrote it down. The average wage over in America is about 5 to 15 times more than it is here, depending on your profession. I mean, if you're working in a grocery store, it's not 15 times more. But if you get a professional career in America, you're going to make a lot of money. So don't come over here and expect that you're going to make a lot of money. If you come over here to depend on money to make it here, it's not going to work out for you. Okay? So take that in consideration when you consider moving here. Have a pretty good sized nest egg, or Social Security if you're older. Let's see, good 401k, something that you can back up on. All right, let's talk about healthcare. Okay, healthcare, it's not expensive here, but you're not going to get high quality healthcare like you are in the U.S. The U.S. has the best healthcare around. I know it's expensive, depending on where you are, but if you have a major problem, major surgery, you want to be in the U.S. If you know you got a major issue coming up, get it taken care of before you get over here. Now here, I go to doctor's appointments about every 3 months, and it costs me, I don't know, probably $25, $30 a visit. So, I can't complain. My medications, my prescriptions are probably $20 a month. And see, I pay out of pocket. I don't have insurance over here, but I do have some money put aside for medical issues if something should happen. But yeah, no, the healthcare, you don't don't expect the same type of health care when you're here. Minor things, you're gonna be fine. Okay. Okay. Safety in crime. The Philippines is very safe, guys. It's nothing. America's blowing up right now as I speak. There's crime everywhere. There's shootings. There's robberies. There's carjackings. There's everything. The most you may encounter here is, a pickpocketer, or you may see a robbery here and there, depending on where you are. Dumaguete, the city right next to me, just got voted the safest city in the Philippines to live in. There's virtually no gun violence. There's a couple places in Mindanao and a Muslim-led area that are not safe for Westerners like me to go to, and they warn you about that. But that's a small area. That's not the whole Philippines. So when you come here, you can expect to be safe. Look up the crime stats and compare them to the U.S. and you'll see there's not a lot of violent crime here. So when we moved here, I was told, wow, you're going to be safe over there? And I'm like, I'm going to be much safer moving in the Philippines than I am right here in America. I was fortunate enough to live up in the mountainous region in northern New Hampshire, so I was in the safe area. But, if you move down to the city area like Boston or someplace like that, it's a whole different ballgame, guys. Okay, traffic and infrastructure. The traffic is a nightmare over here, okay, especially Manila, but it's even bad here in Dumaguete now. I don't even like going down to Dumaguete because of the traffic. You got to have a lot of patience, and if you don't, it could be an issue. If you're one of the guys that gets road rage, you better either change your ways or don't drive, one of the two. The infrastructure here, it's nowhere near that of the U.S. We talk about highways. The U.S. does a good job on infrastructure. The interstate highway system's second to none. They have fantastic roads and all of that. Over here, not so much. Someday I'll do a video and I'll show you like the wires and the lines throughout the city. It looks like a hornet's nest and it can't be safe. But it needs a lot of work. There's a lot of brownouts here. We actually had one last night for about 4 hours. We have a generator. Unfortunately, right now it's being repaired. So if you have a home or you want to stay in a place where there's a generator, because you're probably going to use it. We get brownouts probably every week or so, every 2 weeks. They don't last long typically. Sometimes they schedule them to do tree maintenance around lines. So, just think of that when you do come over here. Okay, what else? All right, let's talk internet. Internet, they have a lot of different companies over here that do internet. I went out and bought Starlink. Now, Starlink has been fantastic. Very reliable. It's rather expensive. If you are a Filipino living here, it's $3,900 a month, which is about $72, $3, something like that. But I'm telling you right now, it's fast and it's reliable. We never lose our internet. And it's especially good if you live in a mountainous area up in a province. You're going to want something like that. Other than that, internet's very suspect. It's very in and out. So I highly recommend you buy Starlink. I know internet in the U.S. is never a problem. They have very good internet over there. We never had an issue. I think I had Spectrum when I lived over there, and it was perfect. We had perfect service there. All right, let's talk a little bit about food. Now, there's a lot of different food choices here, depending on what you like. I'm pretty fussy, but mostly they eat fish and rice here, and I'm a steak and potato kind of guy. But there's a lot of good fresh seafood here. Fresh vegetables are everywhere, and it's not expensive, okay? You're not gonna pay a lot of money. We eat out probably 5 nights a week, And we, the three of us going out to just a moderate restaurant, we spend about $22, the three of us. And that's at a moderate restaurant. That's not high end, that's not low end, it's about in between. The average around $7, $8 a person to eat out at a restaurant, depending on where you go, of course. Now in the U.S., it's totally different. In the U.S., everything's large portion. Restaurants are very expensive over there. I remember just my wife and I and our boy going out to like a 99 restaurant. It would be like $80. So you're gonna. There's a big difference. You're gonna save a lot of money on food. And the good benefit is I've lost 18 pounds since I've been here. It's because I'm not eating a lot of junk anymore. The weather, okay, the weather, if you don't like the hot and humid weather, well, it's going to be a problem here in the Philippines, okay? It's hot and humid year round. Some days are hotter and more humid than others, okay? But, you do adjust to it. I've always liked hot and humid weather, so it's never been a problem for me. If it gets too hot, I obviously go in the pool. But it's an issue. If you don't like the heat, it's going to be an issue for you. You're either going to want to be with his AC or a pool, okay? In the U.S., of course, you've got 4 seasons depending on where you live. I can't stand the cold weather. I couldn't wait to get out of New England. When I was young, I used to love skiing and all of that, but no more. I'm just too old now. Let's face it, you change as you get older. And the other thing about the Philippines, from June to November is typhoon season. It can be an issue. This season's been really bad. We've had a lot of flooding locally, not here where I am, but there's been a lot of flooding around. And there's been some earthquakes too. So, you're going to run into these things. This has been the worst year I've witnessed since I've been here so far. And, be prepared. So I've never witnessed an earthquake before, and Cebu, not far from us, went 6.1, and I think a 5.9. Those are big earthquakes. It devastated the area. So I just want to, put that out there for you to consider. Okay, language, English. English is spoken by majority of the people here in the Philippines. I wrote it down actually. Under 50, just about everybody speaks English here. So if you don't speak the language here, it's not a problem. Depending on where you are. Obviously, when you start getting out into provincial areas, it could be an issue with the older crowd. But I've never had an issue, and I'm starting to learn Bisaya, and the more I'm exposed to it, the more I pick up. I tend to pick up the bad words more right off, but hey, that's just me. And they're very polite. The people here are very polite. They will work with you to try to explain something if you don't understand. Oh yes, let's talk about social life and family. Families are very close here. They do everything together. A lot of family members, there's a lot of them that don't even leave home when they get out of school. In America, as soon as you're 18, they're out, they're gone. I know my kids alone, they all moved out to different areas. They live on their own, they're all very successful in life. That's how it is in America. Over here, everything's family oriented. There's always a birthday party. Every time there's a birthday party, everybody gets together. They do a lechon, pig roast, whatever you want to call it. And they all celebrate and have a great time. I know I've done videos on them in the past, but it's really refreshing to see how close families are, and they will do anything for each other. So that's a nice experience that you will see when you're here. All right, a little bit about the bureaucracy. I can't even say it. The bureaucrats over here. Philippines is very tough when it comes to getting anything done. There's a lot of paperwork involved in anything you do. If you want to get a license, it's going to take you a while. simple thing like a bank account, it takes forever to get. A Gcash card, everything's a work like an act of Congress to get done here, especially if you're a foreigner. I pretty much divorced myself of all that. My wife is taking care of it. It's easier for her because she's Filipino. So yeah, she got her license. We have a Gcash. We have a bank account, obviously, but it's not easy. Okay. So be prepared to be patient. Simple thing like buying a piece of land, the title could take you a couple months to get, depending on the situation. And if you buy land over here, be careful. There's this thing called a mother title. And what that is there could be multiple people on that title. And for it to be legit, everybody has to sign off on it. If not, you buy it, and you get one person that didn't sign off, they can come back and say, well, this is my land. I never signed off on it. So be very careful. Get yourself a good lawyer if you're going to purchase property, and they'll make sure it's taken care of. So yeah, I think that's about it. Those are some of the big things I've witnessed and experienced since I've been here. I don't have any regrets at all, and there's really nothing I would change. I just have fit in fine here. A lot of that is how you handle yourself amongst everybody here. Don't stand out. I know I've said it before, but just go, as I say, go with the flow, Joe. That's me. So, guys, thanks for your support again. Please comment, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.